I want to talk to you about running for president because I'm hoping you agree with my thesis. If not, we'll fight about it, but I think you'll agree.
Okay.
So many of the people who might were thinking about running, so many of the operatives around them, I just think they're a little naive about how hard this is. And obviously, running for president now is not the same. Hillary Clinton did not have a TikTok strategy in 2008 because you didn't need to, it didn't exist. But just talk about basically why is it harder to be a candidate, be a presidential campaign manager than most people think it is? What are the dimensions that make it so much harder than people who've never done it before realize?
So, I mean, it's really, really hard. It is hard on your body. Physically, it is hard. It is hard on your mind, mentally, because you're obviously creating policies, agendas, priorities that affect the entire country, also the entire world. And while you're doing the proactive stuff, you're getting attacked constantly, daily, every minute of the day. And that just wears on you. Everything from, let's talk about building a team. Let's say you've been in politics for, a relatively long period of time, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. That's still not long enough to be able to teach you how to win, not just wherever you're a politician and whether you're a governor or a senator or a House member or a mayor, but you have to learn how to win everywhere. So you have to, keep loyalists with you, people who've known you for a long time, people who have know who you are and what you believe in, what your passions are. But you also need to bring new people in, right? To sort of test those beliefs and test those passions and test your ideas, and also who know things that your loyalists don't necessarily know, know how to win in the early states, know how to win in South Carolina and Nevada and New Hampshire, know how to win a caucus, know how to have a TikTok strategy, as you mentioned. And then the key is to get your new people and your old people to get along and work together. And that's really, really hard.
Yeah. And just that one thing is so hard. And you and I have seen it in the races you've done and people we know in other races. Just say, these people have been with me 10, 15, 20 years longer. And they're all about me, and they know everything about me and my weaknesses and my strengths and what I need on the road and what kind of policy papers I like. And here come these new people who, as you say, you need them because you need more people, and you need them because they've got skills you don't have. And all of a sudden you're asking these new people to understand the history of the old people, and the old people to not resent the new people. Just that Just that is so hard for the candidate and the campaign manager, because the new people are shiny and exciting and they have these skills, but the old people have been with you. So that's one. Now, you mentioned the physical thing. Did you listen to Taylor Swift's interview with her boyfriend and on the new
I did not, and I know I'm going to get hate for that.
You don't need to. I'll tell you the applicable part, and I recommend it to you. So Travis went on the road with her for the Eras tour, right? And he walked into her suite, and he saw set up like all of this equipment, like massage table and like hot tub and all this stuff, and he said, this is just like me. This is like after an NFL game, I'm a wreck and I need all this rehab and, my feet massaged and all this stuff. And same thing. It's the same thing for a presidential candidate. They're shaking 1,000 hands a day. They're walking, they're standing, they're getting no sleep. Just talk about some specifics of how grueling it physically is.
Like a typical day on a campaign trail, on a national campaign trail, you probably wake up somewhere around 4 or 5, you got to read all the news. You got to read your clips. You got to, people come in and brief you on what's happening today, what other people said about you today. Here are the points you're going to hit. So, and if you're a woman, you got to get your hair and makeup done. And that adds an hour to, that a candidate doesn't have to have. Very little time to work out to sort of keep your stamina up. And then literally you're going from event to event to event in various states. You're not like just hanging out in Des Moines, Iowa all day long. You're going to do a hit in Des Moines, then you're going to do a hit in New Hampshire, and then you're going to do maybe a hit, fly to the West Coast because it's earlier there. You may be able to make a hit in Nevada. And And that, wears on your body physically, the travel.
You're lucky if you get a package of peanut butter crackers.
That's right. You're eating crap all day long.
If you're eating at all.
If you're eating at all. You're drinking a lot of caffeine because you got to stay awake because you didn't really sleep that night. Right. You have a lot of people around you, fussing at you. Here's your talking points for this. Here's your briefing book for that. You have to fix your hair. You have to fix your, change the tie. Doesn't look good. And that can get annoying.
Right. So I'll play a senator or governor from a really big state who's run for elective office 7 times. Patti, I've been governor of blah, blah, blah. I've been the senator, blah, blah. I know how tough campaigns are.
No, you don't.
Explain to him. What would you say to him? What would you say to him?
Respect, no, you don't.
Patti, I was in the military. I'm governor of Maryland. I know how hard this stuff is. Go ahead.
I'm sure you think you do, but you don't. And unless you've done it, unless you've lived it, and there are some people who've run for president more than once. You really, really don't know the toll it takes. So it's just a rigorous day, but then you have to add on just how, and you may have the thickest skin in all the world, how debilitating it is for people to attack you constantly, day in and day out, and still, have a smile on your face and take it.
And it's not just taking it. It's also, here's what they'll say to you, and you tell them why they're wrong. And you saw this with both Clintons when they ran. Patti, I've run for Senate 3 times in a very competitive political state. Everything about my background has already been scrutinized by my enemies in the party, by Republicans, by the media. Everything's already out there. What would you say to that?
No, it hasn't. Respect. No, I mean, people come out of the woodwork, as you know, and they also make stuff up, as you know. People will make stuff up, and you have to combat it, and you have to fight it. And we are now living in a. I don't think when I was running campaigns, when I was in the thick of things, we had the kind of media cycle and AI and all of this stuff going on that we didn't have then, where there are false facts and there are made up things even more so, and it's harder and harder to combat.
And of course, sometimes it's a combination. It's like a lot of truth, but then the fake part. And so you have to walk in as a campaign manager to the candidate and say, hey, there's a story about you in this land deal in Arkansas called Whitewater, da 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 da. And then the candidate invariably will say this. You'll tell them, well, they're saying these 7 things. And 6 will be true and the 7th will be false. And they'll say, well, that one is false. This whole thing is a big put up job because that one's false. And you say, well, with respect, Mr. Candidate or Ms. Candidate, like, no, a lot of this might be true. So we got to walk through it. And they don't want to walk through it. They're busy. They don't want to talk about some embarrassing thing. And as you said, it's a different thing. So the Clintons.
And sometimes your candidate, maybe not on purpose, but will lie to you and say, oh, no, that's wrong, when it's actually true.
And sometimes they'll lie on purpose. So Bill Clinton ran very competitively in Arkansas, right? The Republican Party wanted to destroy him. He ran for governor over and over. Whitewater, Jennifer Flowers, the draft letter never came out, right? Even though he was constantly on the ballot. And then you take George W. Bush, ran in Texas, right? He had a DWI with his teenage sister in the car, never came out. And so what these people don't get is until you run for president, the level of scrutiny, even if you're vice president of the United States, the level of scrutiny is just not the same. And all of them seem to just want to be in denial about that.
Correct. And there are people who just make it their business to dig up stuff that has never been dug up before. And it's going to come out. It's going to come out.
Yeah. So would you recommend, if you were asked by Gavin Newsom or Westmore, anybody, would you say hire someone to do investigative research on yourself?
That question. With that, that would be the first thing I would do.
Yeah.
Make sure you know everything there is to know about.
And then if the investigator comes back and says, hey, they found this thing where you owned a home in Canada and no one's ever known you've owned a home in Canada, would you say, tell me why you bought it? Tell me everything about that.
Yeah, of course. And not just me. You need a whole team of people.
Yeah. Okay, so you're the campaign manager, and you find out. Just hypothetical. Westmore owns an apartment in Edmonton, Canada, and it's never been reported. And we Googled. There's no evidence. And you say, Governor, what's the deal with the house? And he says, that's just a private thing. I just bought that for my family. It's just a private thing. What would you say?
I would say there are no private things when you run for president.
All right, here's a good question for you. Is a continued divide between Donald Trump and the Fed putting us behind the curve again? Can the Federal Reserve take the right action at the right time? Or are all of us going to be looking at a potential economic slowdown? And what does all this mean for your savings? Consider diversifying now with gold through Birch Gold Group. For decades now, gold has been viewed as a safe haven in times of economic stagnation, when there's global uncertainty, and when we're dealing with high inflation. Birch Gold makes it incredibly easy for you to diversify some of your savings into gold. If you've got an IRA or an old 401k, you can convert that into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Or you can just buy some gold to keep in your safe. But first, either way you want to get educated, Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. Just text the word NEXT to this number, 989898. Again, text NEXT to 989898. Consider now diversifying a portion of your savings into gold. That way, if the Fed doesn't stay ahead of the curve for the country, you stay ahead of the curve for yourself.